Deirdre Doyle is founder of the coolfoodschool.ie Greystones, promoting healthy eating in a fun and interactive environment. Monday's business block is powered by the Women's Inspire Network. Hello everyone, and you are very welcome again to Business Block. This Monday show features Women's Inspire Network members, and it is powered by Samantha Kelly's Women's Inspire Network. So, my guest today is a wonderful woman. She promotes healthy eating in a fun, interactive environment, and her name is Deirdre Doyle. Deirdre, welcome to the show.
Hi, Miriam. Hi, it's lovely to be here. And thanks, Samantha, for supporting this.
Lovely. Yeah, absolutely. WIN is a great group, isn't it?
Oh, it's brilliant. Yeah, it's absolutely brilliant. I just love having women there to support other women, because I think it's a different journey for women than it is for men. Not wanting to use that word particularly, but I think it's very different. I think we're juggling different challenges than men are. So
yeah, it's not to say that theirs are less. They're just different, aren't they?
Yeah, they're I'm not saying they're less at all, but they're absolutely different. And I think it's absolutely brilliant to see women succeed in business when they have all these challenges that men don't necessarily have.
Yeah, I know. How has the pandemic been for you? It's a question I have to ask.
I know. Yeah, you just really can't ignore it, can you? The pandemic has been up and down, I think, like many people. It's probably from a business perspective, it's been more up. From a personal perspective, it's been like we all had COVID. The kids with broken arms and burnt legs and all sorts of stuff here. And family members not been well, nothing to do with COVID. So from that perspective, it's been a challenging year, but business-wise, it's been actually quite good. I can't complain.
And what tweaks and adjustments did you find you had to make? Did you work more online than you had before?
Oh yeah, absolutely. So that Thursday that they announced that the schools were closing, I had just come from a school. And I teach interactive food education workshops with kids, mostly the younger age groups, so kind of age 3 and 4, that kind of age group. And I had just come from a preschool, and I met my husband for a quick coffee, and then we were listening to the news. They're like, oh, okay, here we go. So I went home, picked up the kids, and then I had workshops on the next day, and I had workshops scheduled for, the rest of the March to June, more or less. So they were all cancelled. So I was like, okay, that's great. And on the Friday, got up, didn't get dressed, stayed in my pajamas all day. And I was thinking, oh, this is not good. I can't do, at the time we thought it was 6 weeks. Ha ha ha. Yeah. How naive were we? So from kind of the Monday, I think it was the Monday or the Tuesday, I started doing live Instagram workshops for parents. So we did a mixture of kind of food education and cooking, really simple things that parents could do at home with their kids. Because my heart went out to parents who were trying to work full time at home. Like I only work part time, really. So from there, I did about 60 of those between March. Yeah, I kind of did them every day, Monday to Friday, for the whole of the school term, the rest of the school term.
And what was the response to that?
The response was great. Like I had some people who came every day. My mother.
God bless the mothers.
God bless the mothers. But actually, do you know what, Miriam? It was a great way for us to even interact. And I'd ring her and she'd say, "Oh, I liked what you made today." Now it was very easy, but I didn't like what you made yesterday. So I don't think I'm going to try. And we did. I had lots of people that came every day. Some people dipped in and dipped out. People that I know from America, Australia, whatever, watched along as well. So that was amazing.
So it kept you focused, I'm sure, as well, and probably forced you to create that blueprint.
Yes, it kept me focused. It gave me a reason to get up in the mornings. And it gave our day a bit of a shape, because I did them at noon every day. So otherwise your day is in front of you and you're like, what do you do? And back then, like the schools weren't as on top of things as they were this last lockdown. So the schoolwork was very kind of,
Absolutely.
intermittent, and really dependent on the teacher and that. So so they were great, and what that did was it really gave me the confidence then to go online with a paying product.
Yes.
So I then created summer camps that cooking online, and they went really, really well. And I haven't really looked back since then. So I've done a lot of online cooking classes with a lot with transition years, actually has been great. With corporates, with kids, with groups, with the libraries. So, yeah, so I've been busy up until kind of...
With the libraries, you say as well?
Yeah, so the libraries have funding through Healthy Ireland, and they do lots of different things through Healthy Ireland, and I kind of fit very nicely into their remit. So I've worked with libraries, Donegal libraries, Kildare Library, libraries all over Dublin, doing online cooking classes with them. So that's...
And was that something you would have known about beforehand, or did you just discover that during the pandemic?
No, I knew about that. Yeah, no, I knew about that beforehand, Miriam, because I had done workshops. I had gone to libraries and done workshops before, right, but I'd never really done cooking. The cooking is a new thing for me, kind of. I had done food education, but the reality is cooking is a lot sexier.
I know, particularly today. Absolutely. But your background is really extraordinary. So you're a BTEC certified nutrition coach.
Yeah. Yeah. So I suppose the food thing comes from, I did a hotel and management, hotel and catering degree in Galway when it was the RTC. It's a long time ago. Other people might know it as GMIT back in the 80s. And I suppose that's what really sparked my interest in food and good food. And then I kind of, throughout my 20s, I traveled all around the world and worked mostly in the hospitality industry. So worked in Euro Disney in Paris for a while.
I was fascinated when I saw that, because back in the 80s, when I migrated in 86, I ended up living in a place called Malin, which was just a stone's throw, literally, from where they were going to build Euro Disney.
Yeah.
And I can remember waking up in the very early hours of the morning. I had a chalet at the back of a French house, one of these nice big French houses with nice big gates, and the chalet at the back, and I rented that. Used to get up at 4 o'clock in the morning to get a 6 o'clock train to go to work. But I remember one day waking up extra early to this immense bang, and I walked out to the gate. It was a cold, cold day, and I saw early hours of the morning, and I saw this, the whole sky was on fire.
Yeah.
And an aircraft had gone down, an airplane had gone down, and it went down
very, I was expecting you to say. I thought you were going to say they started building Euro Disney.
No, it went down very close to the Euro Disney site.
Oh my God.
Yeah, and so this Euro Disney had already been announced. The site was already booked.
Yeah.
And this was within a few months of that news breaking, and all of us wondered, is the area so damaged that this will actually take place now? Because this was a jetliner.
Yeah.
That had gone down, you know.
I never even heard that story.
God. I wondered, that's what I was going to say to you. Did anybody talk about this massive crash? Maybe it was a little early. When were you there?
Well, Disney opened in 1992. So I was there as part of the opening crew of Disney in 1992.
So I went 86. This happened 87.
Okay. Yeah,
so they still would have been putting the infrastructure in place at the time. But I just thought, oh my God. And also just to say that you were there. I mean, how great is that for the kids?
I know. Yeah, we took the kids there a couple of years ago, and they were very excited to know that I worked
there. And what was your experience of working there? Was it again in the hospitality side of Euro Disney?
Yeah, so I worked in a restaurant in the park called the Lucky Nugget, which is in the Western land, the Wild West, or whatever it's called. I can't even remember now. But like part of our training, like, so we were there before the park even opened to the public. And some of the things we'd have to do was, go and test out the rides. So one of my days' work was actually sitting on that ride, It's a Small World, and going around and around. And that music to this day is like, it's a small world after all. It's like, oh my God, in my head.
My goodness.
Yeah, so, and it was interesting because they had the staff in the restaurant. There was like, they had loads and loads and loads of staff. There's probably 120 staff, and we were all around the same age. We were all in our very early 20s, kind of 18 to 24, that kind of age. And about half of the staff were French and half the staff were English, Irish, Scottish, Welsh, because they had come to Ireland to recruit. And the mingling of all those people and our interactions with them, and yeah, it was great. Look, I had a ball. Like, I had an absolute ball for about 8 months.
And do you find that, looking back on that period, that there was anything even now that you can bring to your business today from that experience? Any kind of an awareness of how children respond and the fun side, and that you can take that into the cooking? Yeah,
I suppose a huge part of that was the show. Like, the show was a big part of the restaurant. Like, that's, people came, booked to the show and had a meal. So that whole element of singing, dancing, having fun, having a show. Yeah, actually, I had never thought about that in relation to what I'm doing now. But yeah. No, kids loved it, and all this ooh and ah and the baddie and the goodie and all that kind of stuff.
The entertainment side of food as well.
Yeah, absolutely. And there's no reason why food shouldn't be fun for kids, no more than for anybody, you know.
At what point did people start calling you the vegetable lady? When I read that, I thought, that's so funny. I could see kids latching onto that immediately.
Yeah, I suppose that the first few times I went into schools, and then the teachers used to say, oh, here comes the vegetable lady, here comes the vegetable lady. And yeah, it kind of, I think for kids, it's an easy way to remember me.
Yes.
You know, they can say, oh, here she comes, and I normally have a big box of vegetables or whatever I have with me. So yeah, here comes the vegetable lady.
And if you go into the schools, you know, so this is the mobile side of your business, as it was before the pandemic.
Yeah.
How long would you spend with a class?
So I spend anything between probably up to 40 minutes with a class. So I've actually I've recorded those workshops that I used to teach in classes, and I was showing them to a friend of mine today, and she's like, oh my God, you're like a child's entertainer for food. I was like, well, that's not what I originally set out to do, and that's why I've discovered is that by making it fun for kids, is that they respond really, really well.
Yeah.
So I would generally do something like, I do a little bit of an intro bit where I come in, we talk about the vegetable, and it's all about revealing it to them really slowly, like say, oh my goodness, we're going to talk about this thing today. Does anybody know what this thing is called? Has anybody ever eaten it? Has anybody ever tried it? Yes. And oh look, it comes in. So say if I'm doing a tomato, for example, which is one of my most popular classes, I'll bring in a pepper and an apple and a tomato, right? And I'll say to the kids, okay, pretend I'm an alien, I've come down from Mars. Tell me, I have no idea what a tomato looks like. So give me an idea what a tomato looks like. And they'll say, oh, like, what color is it? And they'll say, oh, it's red. I was like, okay, red. And then I have a big basket full of food, and I have it all covered up, and I'll go in and I'll pull out the pepper, and I'll go, look, it's a tomato. And they go, no, that's not a tomato. I'm like, but you said it was red. And they're like, no, that's a pepper. So I'll go, okay. So, and then I'll say, how do you know it's a pepper and not a tomato? Is it the shape of it? And they say, yeah, tomato's round. So I'll go back in and I'll pull out a red apple. And I'm like, there we go. Look, here's your tomato. It's red and it's round. They'd be like, no, that's an apple. I'm like, but you told me it was it. And so on and so forth.
Yeah, so listen, I'm getting into it at this stage. I'm listening to. So then you've got to, if you like, flick the switch, change the chip, and do your corporate side.
Yeah, so corporate tends to be more, like I have worked with kids, so it could be like a family event. So, for example, I did one there for St. Patrick's Day with a company, and I got all dressed up in St. Patrick's Day gear. We played some Irish music on the Alexa. So I'm in my kitchen and they're in their kitchens. And then we made we did kind of Irish themed stuff. So we made a green smoothie, and we made, goodness, I can't even remember what else we made, but it was Irish themed. And then I'm playing music, and we all have a dance around the kitchen. And so that's one type of thing I do with corporates. And then another thing that I just did as well for another large corporate is just do an information chat. So it could be like a 30-minute chat where I might do a demo. I've done things like I've made a tomato sauce, demoing a tomato sauce, and then talking about what you can use it for, because I just don't sleep at night if I don't have tomato sauce in my freezer, because it's just so versatile.
Yes.
And it's such a great way to include vegetables in your children's diet. If, you know, then all you need to sling in some pasta and throw the sauce on and you're done, you know, or throw it on your pizza or whatever. So it could be something like that. I've done sandwich making classes, lunch making classes, actually. School lunch making classes are popular. So yeah, there's lots of scope. I'm pretty much willing to do anything.
Yeah, and this is the openness you have to have now as a solo entrepreneur. You've got to do that. You've also got a shop. How does the shop work? What do you feature in that?
Yeah, so my most popular product, which a lot of WIN members would be familiar with, are the knives, the kiddies cutters, and the food peelers.
Oh yes.
So I discovered these down a rabbit hole on Google one night, and I contacted the lady who owns it. It's a lady who owns this business. I love working with women. And anyway, she sent me some to try, and I sold them to, you know, friends and family and the mums at school, and they're all like, oh my God, they're amazing, they're brilliant. So it's just kind of gone from there. And I started using them in my workshops, and I was like, oh, these are brilliant.
Yes.
Because they just totally opened up my workshop. So previously I had gone in with all, you know, great intentions that the kids are going to sit down and they're going to listen to me, and I'm going to tell them lots of things about vegetables, but
yes,
actually they need to be doing to learn. And doing, nearly always we use these in the classes, and the kids just can't wait for them to come out. They're like, where's the knives? We want the knives.
And it gets them into healthy habits regarding using tools.
Yeah, absolutely. And I can't tell you the number of parents who've commented, who've messaged me after buying them or whatever and said, oh my God, Johnny would never touch a carrot, but he sat there and he peeled and chopped his own carrot and he ate the whole lot of it, or whatever, you know. So they're a very powerful tool for kids to have, and they're suitable for kids from age 2. The knife is suitable for kids from age 2, and then the peeler from about age 3. So they're my most popular product. But I've just, nearly all of my products are made by women. Actually, that's another product that lady does, Kiddies affirmation cards. She just created them in the last lockdown in Australia.
Very good.
They're lovely cards.
Just as another question on acquisition there, any difficulties with Brexit trying to get any of these through?
But these are coming from Australia. So this range, the Kiddies Food Cutter range, comes from Australia. So we've had
all Australian, yeah. Now,
we did have issues last year with getting the stock from Australia to Ireland. There was like, she posted them the the 12th of March was when we went into lockdown. She posted them, say, the week beforehand, and I got them in August. So I was just having a meltdown.
Yes, trying to get those. So, my gosh, that was a long delay.
That was a long delay, yeah. So we ended up going down a different route with them, so it was fine. This product here, these are reusable food pouches.
Oh, yes.
For kids, and this is created by a mum, wouldn't you know? She also does reusable snack and sandwich bags. She's new packaging coming for those, actually.
And is she based in Ireland?
No, she's English. She's based English. In English, based in the UK. So yes, we've had, when I say issues, just we've had to pay customs and tax on getting the stock into Ireland, which subsequently raises the price for everything, you know, for Irish people, for Irish shoppers. But sure, what can you do? And
these are all, I'm sure, recyclable and.
Yeah, so this is the pouch. So these are kind of in answer to people who have younger kids who might be weaning them, and they use things like those Ella's kitchen pouches. These are ones that you can use yourself at home. So they have a very wide side opening there.
Yes, very good.
Yeah, you pop your smoothie, or you can even put soup or whatever, or cereal in there, and then you close it up. And then it's got a really, really strong zip, and then the kid drinks it from here.
Excellent.
So it means
adults
yeah,
can use
yeah,
this.
adults, yeah. These are the that's kind of the bigger version. That's the kind of more adulty version, and that's the kiddie version. It's a much smaller size. And
excellent.
Yeah, and then you can, to wash them, you just open them again and turn them, pop them into your dishwasher. This end expands.
So Deirdre, is there anybody in Ireland who's producing a similar quality product? Because I realize you'll be going for quality on this.
Yeah, no, not that I've come across. No, I mean, I'm no. A lot of the products that I have are created by women who've seen a need in the market.
Yes.
Purely because of their own, for most people, for their own personal experience.
Yes.
Like this next one is Pick Plate, which is created by Ciara Atwell, who is Irish.
Yes.
Lives in the UK. Yes. And she had a very fussy eater, and her child didn't like food touching on the plate. So she created this based on, maybe at Christmas you might have a plate like that where you'd have all your nuts and your crisps and your something like that.
Yes, yes.
And you'd get them maybe in the pound shop, but she was never able to find them other than at certain times of the year. So she created her own one. And these are really popular. Like, I'm on my 3rd order of these so far this year. Because
I can see the attraction in that, because you'll see certain weight loss companies using these plates too, to get people to section off their plates into carbohydrates, proteins, etc.
Yeah.
You'll see it more for the adult market who are involved in weight loss. You'd actually get kids involved in it.
Yes, and that they in the US they have instead of a food pyramid, they use the my plate, I think it's called.
Yes.
And basically it's a plate, and it's laid out, half of the plate is fruit and veg, half quarter carb, quarter protein. So that's how they and I think it's very hard, if you're using that plate, not to fill it with what it says it's supposed to be filled with, So that's really positive, because then it means half your plate is fruit and veg, which is what we should all be eating.
Yes. So, here's a question for you, and I'm saying this because it has, some of my family members have found this very frustrating. Portion control. And in particular, when you go out to restaurants and think, very often a small child being handed a meal that is way too big for them, completely oversized. What are your views on that?
Yeah. Yeah, I have a real issue with that. And I've an issue with restaurant menus for kids in general.
Yes.
Because I just think they are atrocious. I think they generally have about 6 items on them. They have burgers, sausages, fish fingers or fish nuggets, pizza, spaghetti bolognese, and what's the other one? So anyway, pretty much that's all they have. They have no variety on them.
No.
Just don't understand.
Why can't they just scale down the adult menu to suit a child? I mean, certain things, of course, they may not have introduced into their diet yet if they're toddlers, but there will be certain things that they can have.
Absolutely. There's no reason why children shouldn't be eating the same food that their parents are eating.
It is a strange state of mind, and I think you're right. It's a very frustrating thing for parents, but it reminds me of how it used to be with vegetarians.
Yeah.
They get a plate of veg.
Yeah. I know, because I'm a vegetarian from the 80s as well.
Yes.
Cheese and tomato sandwich, or a plate of veg, or you might get
only cheese handed as an option for protein. That used to drive me mad for people. Oh gosh,
an omelette. You get an omelette. Yeah, but even now vegetarian options aren't great on menus, depending on where you go. But they'll have the one vegetarian option, which will be a risotto or a pasta dish, and that'll be it. There won't be any.
Yeah,
there'll be very little imagination or thought gone into it, I find, anyway.
I'm really shocked that 25 years on, children's and vegetarian menus haven't progressed enough. I really am. Tell me about your Taste and Tell book.
Yes, let me grab out one of those here. So this is another UK product.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, it's cool. It's really cool. Hang on, I just have one here that's actually opened. Sorry. So this is the one I use for demos and stuff like that. So this is for quite young kids. So kind of 1 to 3, discovering vegetables with Veggie Bowl. So there's a little story.
Yes.
It's got the picture of the real food, asparagus slices, asparagus spears, Veggie Bowl up to his ears, gathering green asparagus spears. And then you say, oh, I wonder what's in here. So you kind of make a game of it.
Right.
And then as you go through it, and then you might decide that in here, you have put maybe some aubergine. So,
oh, that's a brilliant idea, Deirdre.
Yeah, it's a great idea. So then the child kind of goes, so you'll read this book every day with the child or every couple of days, whatever. Yeah. You put different things into this little box here, and then read it with them, and then say, oh, Veggie Bowl says you decide when it's time to peek inside, and then you peek inside and you've got your aubergine or whatever it is. And there's lots of different ways you can use it. Like you can make it a surprise for the child, or you can use your knife and peeler to prepare the food that goes in there.
Yes.
And get the child to play along with it. And then there's also a fruit one as well. So it shows where the food comes from, like the Brussels sprout and how it grows. And there's got a little story about Veggie Bowl. So yeah, I love that. These guys actually are, I was just in contact with them very recently. They have created a whole food education program for schools in the UK. So they're looking at the kiddies food cutters as part of that program. So yeah.
And is that available from your shop as well?
Yeah, so that's available on my shop. Yeah, obviously you get it in the nice box. So
wonderful. Have you got any advice for people who are concerned? They've got maybe a toddler and they know they've got a child who might be a little bit fussy about food, but they're worried about allergies. They're worried about them not having a varied enough diet to stave off allergies in the future.
Yeah, well, I think 101, the number one thing I would say to parents is that there is a time around 18 months to 2 years that children become fussy. It's a normal developmental phase. And I see it time and time again. And when I was, when we were able to go to events and I might be at a fair or at a food event or whatever, and parents would come up to me and say, oh no, Johnny's a great eater, he eats everything. I was like, oh, what age is Johnny? I'd say, oh, he's 10 months or he's 12 months. It's like, okay, come back to me next year.
Yeah.
And let me know. And then the next year you have that person come back, oh my God, Johnny won't eat anything now. He won't eat avocado, he won't eat chicken, he won't eat blah, blah, blah. And parents freak out. And I totally understand, because you're like, oh my God, this child ate everything and now they're eating nothing. But what I would like to say to parents is that is a normal developmental phase. Like a child learns to walk, like a child learns to talk. This is also a normal developmental phase, and not to freak out. But what you need to do is you need to keep exploring food, keep exposing the child to food. So if you all of a sudden, Johnny stops eating avocado, and then you decide, well, I'm not ever going to give him avocado again.
Because he's just not eating it. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, then he is never going to eat it.
Yeah.
But you need to constantly expose that child to avocado in lots of different ways. It doesn't have to be in the same way all the time. It could be, you could sliced avocado, or you could put some avocado in a smoothie, or you could make an avocado, put in a cake. There's lots of recipes online. But to continually expose that child to foods, to the foods that we want them to eat. Rather than get into this really narrow little field of foods where they'll only eat toast and banana and ham or whatever it is, Now there is
very important. It's because this kicked off in the 70s, and I know because I would have been growing up as a primary school child in this era, and my mum she had her own clinic. She was a physiotherapist, and she was very into nutrition. And this was a thing that started then. So up to the 60s, you had people, they take their fork, they put a bit of potato on it, a little bit of meat, bit of veg, and every swallow was a mix of foods.
Yeah.
And then suddenly you get this advice from nutritionists, which a lot of it coming through from the United States at the time, and went on to change. Separate your food, eat your protein, then eat your carbohydrate, then eat your vegetables, your other vegetables and fruits, and separating in the misled view that this was going to be easier for your digestion. Don't mix it up. And in fact, all it did was set people up for reactions later on. Not everybody, but they seem to be tracing that kind of behavior back to the 70s now. And then you've got people trying to unravel it and go back to the old way of eating.
Yeah, yeah. But it's like that whole fat debate.
Yes.
People saying
we need them.
Yeah, we need fats, but there's been for years and years and years, there is this idea that fat is bad for us, and that's all based on research that has been proven to be incorrect.
Yeah.
I've just read this fascinating book called Why Do We Eat Too Much? And it debunks a lot of that research and says that, and only very recently has the vested interest in that research. So the person who paid for that research has come to the fore. They've only revealed who paid for all that research way back in the 60s, and it was the sugar companies.
Yes.
So the sugar companies were paying for research to debunk fat, so that they took all the fat out of the food and put sugar in instead.
Yes.
So it's fascinating. It's really fascinating.
Yeah.
And then also all that research about heart health and all that, and cholesterol and all of that has been shown to be incorrect as well. So be very careful where you do.
Absolutely. I totally agree with you. Agree with you. And I know I got off to some very, very bad habits myself. And I have quite a number of allergies. That's why I brought it up there.
Okay.
I know that behavior goes way back to the 70s. But I didn't realize, I suppose, until 20 years ago, that's where it really began. So it's really important to get people like yourself on board who actually have the up-to-date research, who can go back and, if you like, reset the habits with not just the child, but the parent.
With the parent, yeah. It is. Look, it is hard. And I think there's another thing that we need to consider, which is the obesogenic environment, which is the environment around us that causes us to be obese. And that is very, very challenging for parents.
Yeah.
As a parent myself, that's like, you can't go into the supermarket, or well, not even the supermarket, you can't go into the petrol station to buy your petrol without being assailed by a sea of bars and chocolate and crisps and
all the hidden fats in that, all the processed foods.
Yeah, all the processed foods. So it's this accumulation or this availability of cheap junk food everywhere that is a real problem. And it's a real challenge for parents. And it's like, that's a government thing, that the government needs to come in and make rules and regulations around that. And they are starting to a little bit, like they're talking about, the no-fry zone. I don't know if you've ever heard of that.
Yes.
Yeah, the no-fry zone actually started here, Greystones in Wicklow. That's where fast food restaurants are not allowed to set up within a certain limit, within a certain proximity to schools.
Yeah, excellent idea.
Yeah, there's Stop Targeting Kids, which is an initiative by the Irish Heart Foundation, which is trying to get government to stop the ads of junk food that target kids, I don't know how many hundreds of times a day, through their apps, through their games. I'm not even going to say TV because kids don't watch TV anymore. But it's this advertising that's getting into kids' heads so that they know the names of every fast food restaurant, but they wouldn't be able to tell you the difference between a broccoli and a cauliflower.
Yeah.
Do you know?
And do you know something? It is so far across the board. I remember running a project in Terranure, and they had, in this particular very small college in Terranure, they had a canteen, and it was all fried foods. And the particular group that I was involved in bringing across was from the UAE, and it was all made clear to me from the very beginning, of course, that the food had to be nutritious and it had to be halal. And I had done deals with people, halal shops in Thomas Street, to have the food ready. But these young lads, after a little while, all they wanted was McDonald's. All they wanted was fries. All they wanted was burgers, you know. And they were doing this not only behind the backs of their leaders, but in the end, the leaders actually started joining in too. I just thought, oh my God, you know, that the addiction can set up so quickly. And the big thing, even with them, and it just brings me back to the small kids too, drinks. There was such a focus in recent years on keeping your child hydrated, but so many of the drinks were high in sugar. Yeah, you know.
Yeah, water.
Yeah, water. Get them
into water. Why have you tried anything else? Like that's all I would ever recommend. Not even particularly milk, because allergies and stuff like that. You know, going back to your allergies, I think water, and yes, drinks. And that's why, you know, the government brought out that sugar tax on drinks. I think of all the things, if parents were to make one change, it would be the drinks. Just get rid of them. Just like it's just liquid sugar, and there is absolutely no nutritional benefit in them at all. And it's an easy one to get rid of, you know.
It is an easy one to get rid of, yes. And as my heart goes out to parents today with small children, but although they are faced with so many challenges on this front, equally there's as much help available if they go looking for it. So
you
know,
can
I talk to you just for a second about advice? Because you've moved the business on, you've tweaked where you've had to. What advice, if you had 3 pieces of advice that you could give a solo entrepreneur out there, male or female, on their business, what would it be?
Well, the first thing I would say is that if you're not 120% passionate about what you do, it's going to be really hard, because I think as entrepreneurs, as solo business owners, the hours and the time that you have to put into your business to make it succeed, that if you're not 100% vested in it, I think it's going to be really, really hard. And it's very easy to give up, you know?
Yeah.
So that would be my first bit of advice. The second bit of advice, I'm trying to think of the name of the book now that I just read recently. But it's about, sorry, it's in my Audible library. Let me just check the title of it. It is about rework, it's called. It's about being good enough. It's about not waiting till everything is perfect, because that holds you back. So, for example, I've just recorded online videos. I mean, they're no Disneyland videos, you know, they're not 100% perfect, but they're good enough. If I was to wait and, you know, I'd have to get funding to re-record them, all that, blah, 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 they'd never come to market. So they're good enough for what I'm doing at the moment, you know. And in time, I might improve them and, you know, get Steven Spielberg to come and film them. But they're good enough.
But it's your unique point of view. That's what people want.
Yeah, they want, and they're quite
HD
unique
quality, but your unique point of view.
Yeah. And I think it's a brand new product for me, and it's a brand new thing that I'm doing. So anyway, it's exciting and nerve-wracking at the same time. But anyway, that's good. So Rework is a really good book if people are looking for a business book to read or listen to. I listen to that on Audible. And then the third thing I would say is, the third piece of advice is to collaborate with people, I think. I'm running an Instagram class next week, which is totally outside my comfort zone, but I was asked to do it, and I've grown my Instagram a lot over the past year. And one of the things I'm going to say to the women, it's a women's network as well, is one of the ways that I've grown my network, my Instagram, is by collaborating with other brands, because we all feed off each other, and we all and it works really well if we work together, I think. So collaborations, working with other people, and
so those people, those women who've supplied you with the products you showed to camera there, are you collaborating with those as well?
Yeah.
On social media?
Yeah, yeah. I just collaborated with the girl who makes these. We did last Saturday. We did a smoothie showdown.
Oh,
so where we had a competition to see who could make the smoothie the quickest.
Excellent.
And I'm just I've done stuff with Kira from Pick Plates, and I'm interviewing the girl who created this actually, which is a new product that I'm just stocking. It's called Curious Cookie. It's a placemat for kids.
Oh.
And so you put your food in here, and then you go on a whole journey to examine it.
So what age groups would this be? 2 to 4?
Like, why couldn't it? Like, I'll be using this with my 10 and 12-year-old as well, because while their language is obviously a bit more advanced.
Okay, I can't see that on it just at the there. So I see.
Yeah.
Right, so it can go to a much higher age group. Yes.
Well, I would with that. Yes, I think why not? Like, I mean, you're saying, okay, like say a piece of broccoli. What are we exploring today? What does it look like? Is it big, small, or medium? What color is it? What shape is it? What is the texture of it? Is it hot or cold, warm or dry? How smelly is it?
It's very interesting that it's designed like that, because just my just putting on my other cap as a corporate language coach, I can actually see that working in a classroom as well with language students of all ages.
Yeah. And actually I teach a sapere, which is a sensory food education program designed by a French chemist actually from about 40 years ago. And it's all about, a lot of it is about language. It's about the language that we use for food. And it's about changing the language that we use for food. So instead of kids saying something is yuck or yum, getting them to expand their vocabulary around food and to think about food in lots of different ways.
Can I just bring up, you've been shortlisted on a lot of awards, the Inspiring Awards 2019, you've got the JCI Friendly Business Awards 2018, the Businesswoman of the Year finalist 2020. Have you found that kind of experience of being shortlisted or getting an award, has it made a difference when it comes to running a business? How useful is that? Some people bother with it, some people don't. But for those of you who have actually entered these awards and have been placed, does it make a difference to the business?
I think it makes a difference. I'm shortlisted for 2 awards with the Network Ireland network this year, and I would love if I actually finally won one. I could actually say,
great, I know, yes.
I'm an award-winning business. Then I can say I'm an award-winning business.
You can, yes.
Yeah. So I think that's very valuable in terms of your credibility as a business. And I think even the chance to, put it out in your social media, that often when, I say that I've entered that award and I've been shortlisted or whatever, you get a great reaction on social media from that. So it's very positive. I think it's very positive. And also there's a process in applying for these awards. So you have to submit an application form in most cases, and you have to think about your business, and you have to answer questions and stuff like that. So
it focuses you.
Yeah, it does, absolutely focuses you, and that process is valuable in its own right, So yeah, absolutely. Why not? Why would you not do it?
You are monitoring. It's for your own personal development as well as your business. So it actually,
absolutely, yeah. And it can open doors then as well. Like you just don't know.
To even further collaborations.
Yeah.
Looking at who the other finalists are with you and other people.
Absolutely, yeah. I did. I've done collaborations with people I've been finalists with in different awards, and I might have been interviewed with people. I'm part of the Acorns program as well. I don't know if you're aware.
Yes, of Acorns. Yes.
Yeah. So I've done collaborations with people from Acorns as well, and I just think collaborating, and they're all female businesses as it turns out, but that's just the way it's been for me anyway.
Well, Deirdre Doyle, The Cool School, the Cool Food School. Absolutely wonderful talking to you today. You're a Women's Inspire member. I've been so happy chatting to you. You've got so much going for you there. I love the logos in the background. I love the products. Everybody, have a look at her website. The website is thecoolfoodschool.ie. She's also on Facebook. You have a dedicated company page on Facebook as well.
Yeah.
You've got Instagram. Just quickly, is Instagram something that you would prioritize over Twitter or Facebook? How is it your main social media platform?
Yeah, for me, definitely Instagram. I think it's the platform I'm most comfortable with. And I started out on Facebook, and then the Facebook, I don't know, my reach I wasn't getting reach on posts. So I kind of focused more on Instagram, and I do a lot of work with influencers on Instagram and competitions. Like I have a giveaway running tomorrow with somebody who's got 130,000 followers on Instagram. I interviewed the Happy Pair last week. They have 500,000 followers. I'm interviewing somebody in America this evening. So Instagram for me, yeah, I just love it. I'm very comfortable with it.
Wonderful. So her handle at Instagram is @thecoolfoodschool. Twitter handle is @coolfoodschool, and Facebook is @thecoolfoodschool. So wonderful having you on today. Thank you so much indeed for joining us. Everybody, have a look at the website, and we'll see you next week.
Thanks so much, Miriam.
Bye-bye.